Hi. So in my project, the final project for my master's, I'm presenting a play and I'm researching multi-rolling, puppetry, and masks. This is a story about love, struggle, guiltiness, and patience. When we are challenged by extraordinary circumstances, how do we behave? This is a story about a mother and a son, and the ups and downs in their relationship when they found themselves isolated from the world. in the development of my research and my play, I've written a script with only two characters, the mother and the child. And for the play version of the short movie, I have three characters, a narrator, the mother, and the child. The mother and the child are the innocent. So the innocent characters of the story, both of them. The narrator is the one that addresses the audience and sets up the circumstances and what we are going to see and what is happening in the story. All three characters are played by the same person. And here is where I'm taking into consideration my research into multi-rolling. So in multi-rolling, the same actor plays different characters. Now, how do you show to the audience the differences in between characters? So the actor can use their voice, can use different movements, different gestures, different costume. And so those three characters are very different from each other. So the narrator is a more theatrical character, speaks in verse and wears a mask. I will go later to the point of the mask. And so the narrator is always addressing the audience and is telling us what the circumstances are with the mother and the child and what they're going through. And because the narrator speaks in a verse, it's more fluid, musical, perhaps, the way of talking. And taking into consideration as well in my research of multi-rolling and how to do this, how to clearly distinguish one character from the other one. I've done a research in Laban and Laban theater, Laban movements, and how Laban, who originally created these movements or this theory for dance, but later was introduced in the 80s and 90s for actors, how he created this set of different characters that they had a very distinguished way of acting. So we have 4 different types of gestures and movements, and within them you have 2 types. So the movement, for instance, can be fast and slow, sharp and blunt. And so with the combination of all these 4 movements and 2 characteristics, you have, let me, get my notes. You have 8 different efforts: green, press, flick, dab, glide, float, punch, and slash. I'm taking into consideration as well on the way of how to do the play. I'm being very much inspired by Mr. Bertolt Brecht and his theater, and so I have decided each character is gonna have a board
that is going to indicate to the audience who they are. So the narrator will have a word that says the narrator, and so the mother and the child. One of the issues I had of how I was going to recreate how I was going to perform the play, and how I was going to the multi-rolling, like playing 3 different roles while being on stage. So I have decided the narrator could be on the screen, so it could be pre-recorded and it could be portrayed. It could be shown behind on the screen. So that sorts a bit the difficulties or the issues I had in between changing from one character to the other one. So the mother is the other character that takes place in this play, and she's an innocent as well, an innocent that sometimes feels overwhelmed by the circumstances. And I wanted to have to show a glimpse of how the mother is in this short presentation I'm doing. And so I've decided to record 2 different monologues of the mother to see the duality that the mother is, the character of the mother is having within this play. So, and to show a bit what was the duality perhaps that was happening during this time. And as well, because I wanted to work on the characters, and I wanted to show the different range within this character, or the different qualities of this character during the play. So as an actor, I wanted to portray different techniques of acting, or what we have been doing during this year. For instance, with David, we had a very lovely exercise where there were like the different stages we could go as an actress person. And so I wanted to implement that exercise within my performance. So using these 2 different monologues, or saying these 2 different, or acting these 2 different monologues, will allow me to show the range of this character. My aim with this play is the audience to think about what I'm presenting, using some techniques of Chekhov, and an idea of using the Chekhov and Stanislavski. It's difficult for me to sometimes divide one from the other one, because I find both of them being so much interconnected. From one side, you're using previous circumstances, you're using your own personal memories, you're using your imagination. And I personally find both methods that they work one with each other. And so in this character, through both stages, showing the nice, call it that way, nice side of the character and the ugly side of the character, and trying to combine both mythologies, and speaking from my own memories and my imagination of how this character is, and thinking about the previous circumstances that I have created for this character. And then exploring those mythologies in the portrayal of this character. The way to speak in this character is different from the narrator. So this character speaks in prose, and the language is quite common, everyday language. And as well, that this character addresses the audience at some point. So this character interacts with the narrator as well, and interacts with the child as with the audience. And with this character, I'm showing the yin and yang, like the good and bad. So the duality, perhaps, that there is within society and there is within ourselves. And then the last character I'm showing is the child, who is as well an innocent within the play. So the child is represented by a puppet. And here I've done a research in puppetry and where puppetry is coming from and how it has been evolved, the use of puppets within the history until our days. With a puppet, I'm representing the child. And again, I'm having a little game, a little play here with a mask. I have done a cast mask out of my own child's face for this puppet. And as well, this puppet, again, going back into multi-role and how I'm playing differences, like how I'm playing in different ways, different characters. So this puppet raps, hip hop, speaks in that way, and I found it was something that really combined and made sense within the world of children I'm representing in this play, in this play, and as part of my research. So I've done a bit of research of hip hop or rappers. They're very famous within that age group I'm working on in this play that represent the child. More classical ones that perhaps are more from my generation, I know a bit better, like Eminem. And as well, like it links a bit with, as I was told by one of my teachers, like Shakespeare, sometimes like Shakespeare, if he was living at this time, perhaps he could be a rapper, because creating new words on the way of playing around with the language. So I thought it was very interesting to bring that in as an influence I had during my master's and while I'm doing my research. The child is a pure innocence. So the child, I'm showing only one face of the child, but through the rhymes, I'm trying to portray as well the harsh situation children went through during the pandemic. And again, I'm linking that with my, again, influenced by Brecht's theater, where you could have music that is not in a perfect tune or flow with the lyrics, so it creates a bit of surprise in the audience. So it's as well a little bit another way of reminding the audience, like, you are watching a play, so don't get stuck on it. I found extremely helpful, if I'm honest, during my research and creating my theater piece, writing a script. My script is about one day in the life of this mother and child, and during the pandemic, and what is happening during that time. And I did a research of I look at psychological different research documents to understand what the situation was. So the short shows that part, and I played a bit with the repetition. So it's always, so it's one day, but it comes and again and again and again. So I was playing with the idea of repetition within a performance. And so having done the script for the short helped me to envision the full play I'm doing for the end of my master's. And again, following Brecht's type of theater, the performance, the theatrical performance is done by different pieces that tell different stories. So it's a story bind one by one, that they don't have an ending. So it's open for interpretation for the audience, or for them to perhaps thinking of a possible ending for the each story. What I'm presenting this time, so I'm presenting the opening monologue of the narrator that is setting up for the story. I'm presenting two different monologues of the mother, where I can see the duality, or the audience can see the duality of this character. And I'm setting up one monologue for the child, where the audience can see the internal fight that is within, or fight, or the not knowing where I am state of the child during the whole play. When it's gonna be done in theater, my original idea had a moment of dance and movement that I wanted to implement, that represents the space, that represents the mother getting into the space of pain and sorrow, and through this movement leading the audience to what they are about to see. At this moment, I'm still not sure if I will have an image projected over the child, over the puppet. That is gonna be, so the puppet is gonna have their own voice, while the mother, the actor, is gonna be moving the puppet. Going back to the use of masks. So I've done a research of the use of mask in theater, and it has been used for centuries, from the Greek theater, Japanese, commedia dell'arte, Italian theater. And I wanted to bring the mask into my performance. I'm fascinated by how the idea of the mask owning their own personality, and how once the mask is on the actor's face, how the actor embodies the personality of the mask, and how the actor follows the mask. I like the idea of Japanese theater, of them carving the masks in a way like different lighting could have different would create different shadows on the mask, so the mask could look some points happy and at some points dangerous. And I thought, for me, as a part of my research, could be very beneficial to create my own masks, to make my own mask. I've done 3 different masks out of my face, and I've recorded the process. I've videotaped it, and it's just absolutely amazing to see how a mask that is just being created and it is still on your face, how honestly you start feeling the personality of the mask. They are different. So I've done one with my normal resting face to call, another one I'm smiling, and the other one is like half face. And yes, each of them were different. I've done half one because Gary suggested me to do so, and I was given a feedback by one of my classmates the first day I presented my performance about how difficult it was to hear me with the mask, because obviously the mask is covering your mouth, so you don't have a lot of projection. So that's the reason why the narrator is wearing a half face mask. And the mask as well helps me to distinguish one character from the other one. So I'm using movement, language, costume to distinguish one character from the other one. I'm using screen to implement a different element on the performance. And the idea is using a type of lighting that is very striking and very plain and direct in each character, and to create as well like this illusion of shadows on the face for bringing something out more for the characters. My research is continuing. I have not finished fully my research for the end of the master. This is just the first glance to it. I'm aiming to have this performance done by the end of the month with all the different parts or stories of these 3 characters. And it's an ongoing project, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.